Only 3 Central Texas teams playing post-Thanksgiving football. Dave Bear here with Danny Davis and Rick Cantu. It's time to look forward to this weekend's action of football, and only 3 teams were in the quarterfinals are alive. Danny, let's start Friday night. We have Thorndale and Shiner, 2 9-win teams going at it down in Buda. What are you looking for in this game?
You know, it's funny. Shiner's actually played 2 teams from Thorndale's district this year. Played Weimer and Thrall in non-district play. Beat them both pretty handily. I think Thrall was 45-0. Weimer was 20-7, so I guess that wasn't handily, but they beat them by 2 scores. I think Thorndale's going to win this game, though, because Thorndale, they're coming off a win over Ganado. Ganado beat Shiner during the regular season. Like the way that Riley Schaefer's been playing throughout the year. Their defense made huge stops last week when they needed to make stops. And when you have that kind of momentum, that's great in these 1A playoffs. And when you have an athlete like Schaefer, that's really all you need.
All right, Rick?
Well, I like Shiner because, well, for one, they only give up 8 points a game defensively. They've averaged 31 points scoring in the playoffs. Thorndale's actually scored more, 39 points per game in the playoffs. They've only given up 19. And with that said, I'm taking the home team because Thorndale, you guys are my guys. You're my team this year. You're my 1A team to take it all. So Thorndale with Riley Schaefer, Danny mentioned, I think he's the best player on the field. I like Thorndale.
All right, our other Friday night game, we have Rouse on their magical run. They're going to go up against the monster that is San Antonio. Brennan, 13-0 on the season is Brennan. That game, 7:30 in San Antonio's Comalander Stadium. Rick, let's stay with you. What are you liking this one?
Well, the key to stopping Brenham is to stop the man named Key. That's Deshaun Key, 46 touchdowns this year, 22 passing, 24 rushing. Rouse, I like Rouse. Danny mentioned how Rouse has played earlier in the week, and they've been spectacular. But they make too many mistakes, 140 yards and penalties. That's going to hurt them against a really good team. This is the same Brennan team that was 13-0 last year at this time, but Cedar Park beat them. Maybe it's Rouse's turn to beat him. I will say this, Rouse can play with him, they can beat him, but they have to play more error-free, not like they did last week. So I'm going to take Brennan.
All right, Danny, does Rouse see the semifinals for the 2nd year in a row, or does Brennan move on?
A few weeks ago, we talked about Brennan on this little webcast, and you know, I said they hadn't played anyone this year, and they were really good at stopping the run. 2 weeks later, I'm saying the exact same things. Haven't played anybody, so I don't know why they're so ranked so high. But they are really good at stopping the run. Last week against Victoria West had 30 rush attempts, 11 yards. Grant Wannabe, linebacker going to Colorado. Derek Robertson, a defensive lineman going to Texas. They have some talent on that defense, and Rouse, unfortunately, running the ball is what they do. Billy Ray McCrary, over 1,000 yards rushing. Andre Alger, their running back, is about 150 yards short of the 1,000-yard mark. They've only completed 9 passes in the playoffs, so they're going to have to up that passing game if they want to beat Brennan. And I just think Brennan, because of what they're able to do well, is going to be able to move on in this game.
All right, our 3rd and final game involving a Central Texas team in the quarterfinal round. Lake Travis, a team that might be the best chance for this area to have a state champion. They're taking on A&M Consolidated Saturday afternoon down in Temple at Wildcat Stadium. Dan, let's stay with you. How do you like this one?
It's going to be interesting to see how Lake Travis bounces back from last week. Yes, they won by 27 points, but their defense gave up 30, which was by far their worst performance of the year. And this A&M Consolidated team, I got to see them play a couple weeks ago against Westlake. They have some talent on that offense. Brandon Jackson, their running back, he can run the ball. Kerry Thomas, wide receiver, he can catch the ball. Derek Dick, a kind of flex guy, he can run and catch the ball. So they have some talent on this Consolidated team. This is the matchup a lot of people wanted to see in the regular season, but it got rained out. But I'm going to go with Lake Travis here. I think that Lake defense bounced back, and I mean, Sean Nixon. I mean, do we need to say anything more about him?
Nothing.
All right, Rick, what about you?
Well, first of all, I didn't know San Antonio watched our videos, but hey, more power to you. Kobe Miller, the one player Danny probably didn't mention for A&M Consolidated, averages 300 yards passing a game. So Lake Travis has to be careful on the defensive backfield. With that said, I like Lake Travis. This is kind of ironic that this is the first year during this big streak of state champions runs that they've averaged more rushing yards per game than passing yards per game. It's 52% rush, 48% passing, but at the same time, Dominic Delira has really turned into a pretty good quarterback. 24 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. I didn't predict that before the season. He's actually grown up before our eyes, and Lake Travis still has the pedigree.
All right, only the 3 games in the area with Central Texas teams involved, but all 3 kind of compelling matchups. So make sure you check back with statesman.com later in the weekend to see who survives and moves on to the state semis. We'll see you.